Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Emma Lefebvre, and today I'm going to show you a better way of how to master painting those evergreen trees. So let's jump right in and start. Okay, so today I'm going to teach you what not to do when painting an evergreen pine tree. So I don't like telling people what not to do. I don't think that there's really any wrong way to do it, but I'm going to show you a way that I see beginners doing it, which makes it look a little less realistic. And in every sense, it doesn't have to be realistic at all. You can definitely do like quick little illustrations and they're super cute. But if you're trying to achieve a more realistic look, I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm just going to be demonstrating in my Etchr Lab cold press watercolor sketchbook today. I have my Winsor Newton professional watercolors in my palette, and I have my Emma Lefebvre Craftimo brushes in a size 6 and size 12 round. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in and show you what I see often. And like I said, this is not the wrong way. There is no wrong way to paint anything. I don't like saying that, but I mean, the title says that. But that's just to get you to click. I'm going to admit that. I'm sorry, but it's true. So this is not the wrong way. This is just a way I see it, which is not as realistic or detailed. But I'm going to show you an easy way to make it detailed. So I see this a lot. Okay, they do the stem and then they go like this. Okay, now this would be actually really cute for like a Christmas card or a holiday card, and you're just like making it like super abstract and kind of like really simple. That's not a bad thing. But like when I'm doing my winter landscapes and stuff like that, this can kind of look a little bit amateur-ish. And we want to make it a little bit more detailed. Okay, so for a quick simple card or something like that, like a few of these could be really cute. But I'm going to show you how I do these evergreen trees, and hopefully you'll enjoy the way I do them. So I usually take a little bit of brown, okay, and I'm just going to kind of do, like, you don't have to do it all the way down. I'm just going to kind of sparsely go down just to give us a guide, really lightly, like that, okay? And you could do this with the green too. You didn't have to do it with the brown. I don't know why I did that. And then you're going to take your green, whatever green you have, okay? And I always start off with the tip, like this, and then a couple branches in like a V formation. So it's like little V's going up. Like that. There's always those couple of little pine needles that are sticking straight up before they start to fall down. Okay, then I'll do a couple more pointing up like this. And this does take a little bit longer, so this is not like a quick and easy one like that. But if we're doing like a landscape, like I said, you might want to try this. Okay, like that. And then you're going to start bringing it down slowly. Okay, and you're just going to do these little tiny pine needles. And what I also want you to remember is they're not just going out to the side. They're coming out at all angles, right? So you're going to have some coming down, right? In front. Okay, now this obviously will take a while, right? If you're doing like each individual kind of branch. So I'm just going to try and do this. And you're just doing these tiny little strokes with the tip of your brush and light pressure. Like that. Okay, and then see how they start to fall down a bit? And I'm going to show you another way to do it too when you're doing smaller trees in the background, an easier way. This is for more like up close detailed trees. Okay, again, remember, have some coming down in the front because they're coming out from all angles. And it doesn't have to be too detailed and perfect, and every little stroke has to be a certain way. It really doesn't. You can overlap them to make it thicker. But it just looks a little bit, you know, fuller and better if you're trying to do a more detailed, not realistic, but detailed look. Okay, so just start drawing these kind of like lines and then doing the tiniest little things. Little things, you know. You know what I'm saying. Okay. So I'm going to speed this up because you don't need to watch me do this like 10 million times. And then I'll show you another way to do it from further away to make it a little bit more realistic. Okay, so there's our tree. You see the difference? It just looks a little bit more detailed. Okay, so another way to do it without doing all these tiny strokes, I'm going to show you, is we're going to do our line coming down. Okay, it doesn't have to go all the way down. And you're going to start again by doing a couple pointing up, but this time you're going to be using more of the side of your brush, so the thicker part, not just the tip. And you're going to be doing thicker branches or strokes. And you're just like, have your brush on an angle like this. And the key for this, okay, is to not make it symmetrical. Okay, so let me just show you down here really quickly. Okay, I don't want you doing this. Okay, you do your little branches up and then you go that way, that way, that way. Okay, you don't want it perfect where it's like they're almost in lines, you know what I mean? Again, you could do this for a cute little illustration. This is not a bad thing at all. But if we're trying to make it a little bit more detailed and more realistic, if you look at trees, they're not symmetrical, okay? So what I want you to kind of think is almost like a zigzag. So we're gonna go down this way, make it a little bit bigger, come down this way, make it a little bit bigger, fill in that center this way. And you can do little strokes if you want, but we're just using the side of our brush for this. And this is a little different than I usually do it because it's up close. I'll show you what I mean when they're like further away. But they're kind of like, you're filling in the center, making it bigger and bigger. But you want it where it's not symmetrical. You want some places coming out a little further. A little thicker. Okay, it just looks a little bit more realistic. And I'll show you this in a, like I said, in like a little landscape setting. Okay, you can go back in with some darker color and just drop it in if you like, especially towards the center. Okay, and it's quite different than this, but it still looks a little bit, you know, better than this. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly here show you like a landscape piece, okay? So let me do like a quick blue sky background. We're doing like a mini landscape here, okay? And this is for if we're doing landscapes where the trees are far away. Definitely could have spread this out a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna let this background dry before we do our trees on top. Okay, so this is what I see in some of my tutorials that people follow. We'll be doing trees in the background, so this is really tiny. I have my size 6 brush, do the little line here, and then they go like this. Okay, doesn't look awful, does not look bad, okay, but it's a little less realistic, right? And especially if they're really spaced out and you have these like really thin lines and you see that trunk line down the middle, it just doesn't look as realistic or as detailed as it could. So now I'm going to show you what to do instead. Okay. And these are for tiny ones. I want you to think of this kind of tree. Okay. Start off again, a little bit coming up at the top. You can make it a little bit taller too. This is really tiny. Okay. And then you're just going to tap that way, tap that way, tap that way, tap that way. Make it a little thicker in the middle. Tap that way, and you're just really make it uneven. Have some shorter, have some longer. Like that. See the difference? Like that. Again, and then have them closer together too. Sometimes they overlap. Let's do a really tall one here. Have a couple little branches pointing up, that little V, and then start to come down. And you're just kind of tapping and coming down. Make it a little thicker, a little uneven. Have some like even smaller ones in here, and then it comes out further. Like that. Okay, so a little bit thicker there. Okay, and then let's do another one. Again, a V shape at the top. Tap that way, tap that way. Okay, see how they're kind of on different levels? They're not parallel to each other. They're not like going out at the same angle. This one comes down, this one comes down further. You have a little branch here, bigger branch on this side. Sometimes you can even have like holes where there's like a bigger gap, because that happens in trees. Okay, make it uneven, like so. All right, and that just looks a little bit more realistic than that, okay? Than this. I know this is quicker, and this is fine if you want to do a really quick landscape, but it's like, it could be a little bit more detailed, and it doesn't take that much longer, okay? And then what I also like to do with my landscapes is I'll clean off my brush, completely dry it a little bit, and then I just run clean water against the bottom and just let it bleed into the snow a bit, like so. All right, so and then where this one comes into play is I would do this type if a tree is more in the foreground, so is closer to the bottom, the foreground, like I said, then you'd have a bit more detail. These are more for like far away trees. I mean, they can be closer up. You can do the exact same, and you can show distance and depth by making some lighter in color. So I'll just show you. Okay, I have a lighter wash here, even less than that. And a lighter wash will make it look like it's further away. You would do this first and then do these over top. Okay, so this looks like it's in the distance. Okay, so I would do a layer of these, really, really light ones behind first, let it completely dry, and then I'd go a bit further in between and darker. Okay, have those little branches pointing up, like so. Okay, like that, and it just gives it this more realistic look. So I'm just going to dry this quickly and then show you this tree in the foreground. Okay, so I'm going to take a darker green. So the darker it would be in the foreground, the further away, be kind of like in a mist, like it's out of focus, the lighter it will be. So say I want one in the foreground, I'd bring it down like this. I want it more detailed, so that's when I would do this kind of tree a bit more, because it's still small. You don't have to go super detailed if you're doing like a bigger piece. You might want to, but the further or the closer it is to the foreground, the more detail you're going to see, right? So I would start to do a few more like individual branches and just make them darker. See more of those. You can use a smaller brush too. My size 6 is pretty pointed, so it works well. And remember, don't have them going out. You know what? I'll try and show you a way to kind of do this, but not as well. I'm sorry if my thoughts are all over the place. But see how that extra little bit of taking your time can really make a piece stand out and look a bit more detailed and realistic. And I'm really not even doing it too well. I'm just kind of like doing these little marks like that. And again, I'm just going to wash off my brush, dry it a bit, and just touch the bottom. Wait, touch the bottom just a little, like that. Okay, and so for this one, just remember, don't go like parallel where they're just like lines and like sticking out. Okay, you want them to come out of every direction, not just the same. Don't make it symmetrical. That's like my biggest tip, is do not make it symmetrical. And try and fill it in, not as bare as you would think. Okay, have those branches coming down on an angle and really fill them in. Don't do this. Okay? And there you go. So there is a little bit of changes that you can make to your evergreen trees to make them look a bit more detailed and realistic. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram for even more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.